I just like to point out who exactly is benefiting from this and what exactly is it actually revealing. Well, all of these wannabe Pulitzer Prize winning journalists are all just circle jerking each other for the world's second richest human. That's what's happening, just so we're clear. One of those accounts that rose to this level of scrutiny was Libs of TikTok, an account that was on the Trends blacklist and was designated for do not take action on user without consulting with SIPPES. I kid you not. I kid you not. We now have direct evidence that Libs of TikTok, the stochastic terrorist known as Chaya Raichik, was being protected, even though we told you so much. This doesn't make sense. Now, I'm the person who officially released the Twitter Files 2.0. If you want to read the real Twitter Files 2.0, where I deeply and thoroughly document and eviscerate Elon Musk and his blatant attempt to try and distract everybody from how terrible he is by dangling these shiny keys in the form of, hey, Matt Taibbi, you're disgraced and no one likes you. And he's like, wait, what? And he's like, yeah, so here, I'll give you the opportunity of a lifetime. You can sell what little fragments of your soul remain, the crumbs, if you will. I'll take the crumbs of your soul in exchange for the fact that you now have to do PR for me, the world's second richest human. And he's like, but I'll be famous? It's like, in a way, yeah, by a certain, let's just say, section of the political sphere. They will certainly adore you. I can't really predict the rest. Anyways, do you want this? Here is money, and also your account will suddenly surge in amount of people who go to it, retweet it, and all that kind of stuff. He's like, okay, yeah, sure, sounds about right. So that's how we got the Twitter Files 1.0. If you want a summary of the Twitter Files 1.0, basically it's been revealed that both private entities, the DNC and the RNC, asked Twitter at one point or another for favors in terms of, hey, the Trump campaign or the Biden campaign wanted things taken down, and if their teams thought this is a business decision, it aligned with things that they wanted to do, they would grant those favors. They would reject other favors because they're a private company. They don't have to do what those companies want. But the biggest problem there would be capitalism. The fact that, again, there's a small monopoly that get to dictate all of our social media interactions. Twitter is one of them, a small one, but still one nonetheless. And that really rich entities or powerful entities, such as the DNC and the RNC, have a seat at the table, and vice versa. And the same thing works with the presidency. That's yes, Twitter Files 1.0. Then came the Twitter Files 1.5, the supplemental, which was the second one that Matt Taibbi released because the Twitter Files 2.0 were taking so long. Why were they taking so long, you wonder? Well, I originally thought it was because they were really trying to see what's the edgiest thing we can dig up here. Turns out, I think it's because Barry Weiss doesn't know how to take screenshots. She took every one of the pictures. They're all photos. She's sitting there with her fucking phone up to the computer screen. Oh, more damning evidence. Oh God, there's the Pulitzer right there. It's so embarrassing. All of this is deeply embarrassing, by the way. Deeply, deeply and thoroughly embarrassing. But funny. Definitely funny. And the best part about all this, it's really just benefiting the left in terms of the truth that's coming out. Not the libs, not the right, but the left. The people who are like, oh, yeah, these are the problems inherent to capitalism. That crew, that's the kind of thing. Oh, and the other one, you know how the left was telling you that Libs of TikTok, it kind of feels like Libs of TikTok gets special favoritism on this, even though we're told that Libs of TikTok is unfairly persecuted. Chaya Raichik is one of the most persecuted accounts, one of the most censored accounts on Twitter, many suspensions. But it kind of seems like she would do things that are, I don't know, stochastic terrorism that would result in death threats and bomb threats, and then just be allowed to keep doing it. And there would be a very easy way to see where a lot of this was originating, would be the Libs of TikTok account, and yet it would just be suspended and then come back, and then I guess Twitter was like, I hope you learned your lesson, and she was like, sure did. Address, dox, phone number, home address, email, and they're like, oh, whoa. Okay, time out. You're quite excited. We get that. You're gonna need another 7-day suspension, but then when you come back, don't do that anymore. That's kind of scary, and it's having some real world consequences, you know, because you do that, and then Christopher Rufo, and Matt Walsh, Mike Serenovich, Tucker Carlson, they just take it and run with it. Sometimes shoe on head. They just get out there, and all of them, and it's hurting people. So we have to kind of again dial this back just never so much. Turns out Libs of TikTok was getting special treatment. Turns out Libs of TikTok had a thing right at the top that says that you could not suspend the account without first referring to the other parts of the security team. That's right. That's the Twitter Files 2.0. We found out two things: that Twitter shadow bans people, And the second thing that I just mentioned, that Libs of TikTok actually was getting special treatment. Barry Weiss, if you don't know Barry Weiss, Barry Weiss was one of the people who was working for the New York Times and was complaining a lot about, you know, the wokeification of the New York Times, how woke it was, how they had the Great Wokening, and then they have the woke seances every morning, and it was just way too woke. And then it was like, at some point, you'll see people will be fired for their positions if they don't toe the line, if they don't, you know, get in with these ideologies. And then that never happened. And then she was like, I quit. And then just rage quit, and then was like, I had to quit. Had I not quit, I definitely would have been fired at some point. It's very similar to Glenn Greenwald. I mean, he left The Intercept because he said he was being censored about the Hunter Biden story, and they were like, you can publish the Hunter Biden story. You just can't only do the Hunter Biden story, though, Glenn, over and over. And I don't care if you started The Intercept. Why are you so obsessed with the Hunter Biden story? We let you run it. Do you want to do 7 more stories? Like, how much teeth does this have? And he's like, I quit. I'm being censored by the very institution I created. And it's like, y'all are just rage quitting. A new hashtag Twitter Files investigation reveals that teams of Twitter employees build blacklists, prevent disfavored tweets from trending, and actively limit the visibility of entire accounts or even trending topics, all in secret without informing users. We know. Of course, they do. It's a social media company. They have complete control over how the social media company operates. They will want to operate their social media company in ways that will most benefit their shareholders ultimately and drive traffic and keep people on the platform. To do that, they have to do a fine balance between, again, maintaining some form of safety, sometimes an appearance of safety, a veil of safety, if you will, but nonetheless enough so that, you know, every now and then you won't see the guy, the founder of the Daily Stormer, the neo-Nazi site, right beside a Wendy's ad. But now you do. That's what Twitter is now. Twitter once had a mission to give everyone the power to create and share ideas of information instantly without barriers. Along the way, barriers nevertheless were erected. See, this is the fucking circle jerk shit I keep telling you all about. The same thing with the Matt Taibbi fucking Twitter thread when he was fucking like, he would post these fucking redacted fucking crumbs. They would be these little, like, how many times did you need to clip out the fucking, it's just a word, it's a sentence. Oh, that was worthy of like, here's part of the Twitter files that backs up my claims. And you're like, okay, fine. Why not just release the fucking Twitter files, all of you? But then in betwixt those, there would be the little ones that he would put in there, and then it would be like, there were times when I did not truly know what the character of man was, but now I do. My jaw was on the floor. And you're like, this is fan fiction. You're all writing fan fiction for the world's second richest human and publishing it on his platform under his supervision. Elon Musk is calling the shots. He has already stated, and they have agreed to this, that he decides the terms and conditions in which these are released. That's what all of you are doing. And you have to add this in the middle. Along the way, barriers, nevertheless, were erected. Take, for example, Stanford Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, who argued that COVID lockdowns would harm children. Twitter secretly placed them on a trends blacklist, which prevented his tweets from trending. He has a God-given right to trend. How could you take that away? Or consider the popular right-wing talk show host Dan Bongino, a man famous for drinking his own piss, who at one point was slapped with a search blacklist. That's free speech. You took it away. You stole his... Oh God, Charlie Kirk. Twitter set the account of conservative activist Charlie Kirk to do not amplify. What? But that's Charlie Kirk. If you don't amplify him, how will his face grow and sprout? Twitter denied that it did such things. In 2018, Twitter's Vijaya Gadde, the head of the legal policy and trust, and Kayvon Bekpour, head of the product, said, "We do not shadow ban," they added, "and we certainly don't shadow ban based on political viewpoints or ideology." Yeah, they lied, I guess. There's a revelation. You got them there. That's a revelation. I mean, it's a very generic statement. We don't, on the whole, blacklist everybody. There's special accounts that have to be taken into consideration, of course, because, yeah, we do have a trust and safety and a security team that try to monitor people who, I don't know, put out some really fucked up shit out there. And then, instead of doing what you all would love, which is push the free speech button, which is just lying right there, you know, Jack Dorsey had his dick on it half the time, click that thing, and then delete the account. But instead of doing that, they would just put these other measures. These kind of seem like they're trying to allow them to still exist on the platform, despite the fact that they're abhorrent and ghoulish, but they are doing certain things to maintain safety, a trust and safety, if you will. What many people call shadow banning, Twitter executives and employees call visibility filtering, or VF. Multiple high-level sources confirmed its meaning. Think about visibility filtering as a way for us to suppress the people. By the way, you know what else is fucking hilarious about this? Is Elon Musk is obviously revealing a whole bunch of stuff to the limits of which can get him the most amount of like clicks, views, attention. People get excited about it. But also it's like, okay, so we're gonna have to change a lot of the terms that we're using behind the scenes, Mr. Musk, because you're basically also revealing a lot of how this social media company, if you want it to continue to operate and operate well, operates. You know, that thing. VF refers to Twitter's control over user visibility. It used VF to block searches of individual users, to limit the scope of the particular tweet's discoverability, or block select users' posts from ever appearing on the trending page, and from inclusion in hashtag searches, all without the user's knowledge. Of fucking course! That would be weird. Could you imagine the uproar of one day Charlie Kirk logged in and is, "You have been limited in your visibility today." Like, we control visibility quite a bit, and we control the amplification of your content quite a bit, and normal people do not know how much we do, one Twitter engineer told us. 2 additional Twitter employees confirmed. Again, no shit. This is how a tech company doth operate? The group that decided whether to limit the search or reach of certain users was a strategic response team, global escalation team, or SRT-GET. It often handled up to 200 cases a day. And don't get me wrong, I'm happy that this stuff is being leaked, even though that I know that, what his face, Elon Musk is doing it for self-serving purposes. But hey, I have no love for massive corporations. Doesn't matter if they're owned by Elon Musk, doesn't matter if they're owned by Peter Thiel, doesn't matter if they're owned by anyone who tries to fucking monopolize a single industry and fucking destroy any potential competition and fuck over their employees and their workers along the way. Yeah, if this stuff is going to get leaked, fine. It's fun. I just like to point out who exactly is benefiting from this and what exactly is it actually revealing. Well, all of these fucking wannabe Pulitzer Prize winning journalists are all just circle jerking each other for the world's second richest human. That's what's happening, just so we're clear. But there existed a level beyond official ticketing, beyond rank and file moderators following the company's policy on paper. This is Site Integrity Policy, Policy Escalation Support, known as SIP-PES. The secret group included the head of legal, policy, and trust, Vijay, and the global head of trust and safety, Yoel Roth, subsequent CEOs Jack Dorsey and Parag Agrawal, and others. This is where the biggest, most politically sensitive decisions got made. Think high follower counts, controversial. Another Twitter employee told us, for these there would be no ticket or anything. You get what you're revealing here, right? That the thing we always were saying is true. That there was preferential treatment for larger accounts, which makes sense because they have more value to the company, and the severity of either shutting them off or limiting them in some scope is much higher. Yes. Congratulations. I'm glad you're caught up to the left. Well done in your analysis. It took the second richest human on earth to give you all the stuff that you could fucking take pictures of with you. Detective Barry is on the case. One of those accounts that rose to this level of scrutiny was Libs of TikTok, an account that was on the Trends blacklist and was designated for do not take action on user without consulting with SIP-PES. I kid you not. I kid you not. We now have direct evidence that Libs of TikTok, the stochastic terrorist known as Chaya Raichik, was being protected. Even though we told you so much, this doesn't make sense. How can someone be doing such extremities? How can there be so much documentation? Like, how about that study that showed you the amount of little teeny accounts, either school accounts or hospital accounts, the amount of noise they would get after she would dox them or put them on blast or whatever. They would go from getting maybe 1 or 2 interactions per day, 1 or 3 interactions per day, to 5,000, 6,000. You can see what is happening before your eyes the second it's Libs of TikTok, then preem, just like that. But right there in 4K, even in the blurriness of Barry's phone screenshot, do not take action on user without consulting with SIP-PES. Now, the rest of this is mostly circle jerk nonsense. I figured you could laugh a little bit to Aaron Brown.
Just another boring day. Hold on, let me check the calendar.
Woo! Actually,
it's Friday. It's Friday.
All right, guys. Well, let's check out one of the biggest stories, probably the biggest story in the
toilet.
Good evening and welcome to Tucker
Jesus.
Carlson Tonight. We begin with an unexpected Fox News alert. Just moments ago, Barry Weiss of Substack began posting part 2 of the Twitter files. Now, these are assessments of internal documents from Twitter that have been hidden under previous management, but are now being exposed by Elon Musk, who just bought the company. Weiss is unpacking all of this right now live on Twitter in a Twitter thread. What she has revealed so far confirms what many suspected but none knew for certain.
You're lying.
Which is that Twitter routinely censored prominent critics of the Biden administration, did so in secret without telling.
But okay, so here, by the way, just for posterity, here is where the lie is coming in. They did it for both sides. They're trying to push this narrative that there's like, and they only did it for the Biden administration. They only did it for the Biden campaign. Yes, they only did it for the Democratic Party. They're the only ones who've ever had anything asked for and then approved on the social media platform. By the way, they both get the final say because they are a private company. Okay, the government is not silencing their speech in that sense. If their own desires to maintain trust and safety line up with the ask that is asked by either the Trump administration or the Trump government or the RNC, then they will comply, or they will say, unfortunately, we can't do that. In terms of how they limit users, again, this whole thing has shown that they took extra steps. This should please you. To not limit people's speech, like rather than directly delete some accounts because some accounts are just so egregious. Think of how transphobic some of the accounts were getting in their final days, including Tucker Carlson, by the way. But Tucker Carlson, I think, got locked out of his account because he refused to delete a transphobic tweet. Jordan Peterson got locked out of his account because he refused to delete a transphobic tweet. Charlie Kirk got locked out of his account because he refused to delete a transphobic tweet, because they're all, again, grown man babies and they soiled their diapers. Instead of just straight up deleting those accounts instantaneously, silencing them, cutting their free speech, 1984, Greg Orwell style, they were like, well, let's apply some other measures. Why don't we limit how they will show up in search results? Why don't we do that? Why don't we do this, you know?
Anyone, and with no factual justification whatsoever.
Oh.
This is known as shadow banning.
That's right, guys. I almost said that's great, guys. That's great, guys. That's right, guys.
Maybe it does give a handful of pundits who like to put out there every now and then that like, my posts aren't doing as good as they normally do. Have I been shadow banned? You know, I see Tinkle does that a lot. It's like, I believe I've been shadow banned, Mr. Musk. Is that because I'm your most vocal fucking toenail sucker?
Let's continue on with this thread here. The number 17 tweet from Barry Weiss gets really, really interesting because now you start to see that Twitter was lying about their bias. Check this out. Barry Weiss says the account, Libs of TikTok, which Chaya Raichik began in November 2020 and now boasts over 1.4 million followers, was subjected to 6 suspensions in 2022 alone. Raichik says each time she was blocked from posting for as long as a week. Twitter repeatedly informed Raichik that she had been suspended for violating Twitter's policy against hateful conduct. But in an internal SIP PES memo from October 2022, after her 7th suspension, the committee acknowledged, quote, Libs of TikTok has not directly engaged in behavior violative of the hateful conduct policy. They were lying.
After her 7th, you dumb fuck. Oh my God. You forgot to add a very important part in that one. Overall, this confirms what we knew to be true all along. Look at this. They were lying. We have it here. The smoking gun. What it proves is that she got preferential treatment. Oh my God. Why does anyone watch this? You just have to turn off your mind. Like, you need to buy yourself a beanie so tight that it cuts off all blood circulation.
It's actionable.
Shocker.
I think that's legal action right there.
I think this is right here, actual malice.
Legal counsel, Moonlord, I would not recommend. There's a lot of people you could go with, and there's a lot of people you could seek unsolicited legal advice from. I would not recommend Moonlord. He is going through his own shit, working through some stuff right now, and it's not good. It's kind of deeply anti-Semitic and strange. So for now, I would avoid Moonlord when you're choosing, you know, opinion pieces to get unsolicited legal advice on the internet from.
Libs of TikTok.
Yeah.
The next time you get in trouble, call a crackhead.
That's my recommendation.
Shia, lawsuit time. If they publicly stated you violated the conduct and hateful, their hateful conduct policy,
and pretty close. Obviously, I'm saying there's a tier below, slightly, but ever so slightly below. Getting unsolicited legal advice from internet personalities, Moonlord being pretty bottom barrel. Tim Pool would not be far behind. But again, because this is Try a Right Check, maybe you should listen to them. Maybe you should hire them. Maybe, I mean, they can't represent you, but they can certainly help in one way or another. You could represent yourself and then use them as counsel, as in they will be able to counsel you as you lose a lot of money in the process.
But then internally said you didn't. That means they knew they were lying. But here's the thing. Does she sue Elon Musk now?
Yeah, Scott, you mentioned that before the show too. What's the process of a lawsuit in this situation? Do you go after a previous?
What are you suing for? Can you please define that? I just want to know. What are you suing for? Distress? Damages? Even?
Previous ownership?
I would think so. I mean,
dude, you all have accounts. You all have Twitter accounts. So I know for a fact, because you all have Twitter accounts, you signed up for those Twitter accounts. And when you did that, you probably noticed something. Probably noticed a lot of words in front of you that you didn't want to read. I don't blame you. I do the same thing. I'm quite flippant with how fast I will click. Okay, sure. I understand and I agree. Somewhere within that documentation, most likely is quite a few provisions that protects Twitter from whatever weird gibberish all of you are coming up with or concocting in your heads that you think is a viable lawsuit here. Again, I'm offering no legal advice. I'm not a lawyer in any capacity, but
you would have to, who was the decision maker? Was it Vijaya? I would go after the individual person as opposed to Twitter, the company, because clearly all of this was done before the Elon Musk administration.
Well, there's names being named here, a part of their strategic response team and the group's name and who was heading them. And it looks like Vijaya was at the head of many of these important decisions. We go back in the tweets and, the documents are here. It shows us exactly who was making these decisions, why they were making them, how they were making them up.
So the head of security team mentions a board, and it's obviously featuring a list of people like Vijaya, Gadid, that you would assume would be on such a board. That doesn't mean that they are personally making these decisions. Do any of you understand the scale of social media, the size of it? Even something small like Twitter, hundreds of millions of human beings being on there. Yes, they have to rely on systems such as advanced AI to be able to police their networks. They don't have an equal amount of people on a security team, one for one, to be able to be like, good today, oh, bad today, good today. Like, what do you... It's remarkable you think that any of you are that important, that like the head or a CEO or fucking Jack Dorsey himself is sitting there being like, Libs of TikTok today. So we're discussing Libs of TikTok. Well, we should do business here. No, this is pressing. What are we thinking? Should we limit in search results? Should we get the whole board together? Let's get the board together. Let's get everyone on this.
And how a lot of this was just absolutely
sue the AI. Yeah, sue the AI.
When it came to hypocritical moves, especially when it came to Libs of TikTok being doxed. The doxing of Libs of TikTok garnered what was
by Glenn Greenwald? Are you going to sue Glenn Greenwald now? Or are you going to sue Chaya Rychek? Because she doxed herself when she registered her domain publicly and put it on the website. That was her who did that. And then it's public information at that point. So,
I think Barry Weiss says 10,000 likes, and that wasn't stopped. But her doing something that they construed on the technicality which wasn't even, correct, which they knew.
10,000 likes on this doxing tweet, and they said, no, it's fine. I had someone post an insane thread with an address, and Twitter told me they would not take it down. And I was just like, okay, whatever. Then it leads to exactly what you'd expect it to lead to. They claimed their justification for removing Libs of TikTok and the suspension was indirectly violating their policies by tweets that that either intend to incite or led people to that de-amplification.
Okay, I don't need to sit through babies first, how companies work.
There's some nuance to the tweet we have to address. Republicans, But if you want lower taxes, smaller government, believe it that there's only two genders, well, then we'll ban you. But that's politics, isn't it? No. See, politics refers to who you vote for, right? Those are the games they play.
Yeah.
You can ask any question.
No, that's the games you play. For this is you, Tim. You are describing yourself. I hate identitarianism. And that's why I'm going to dedicate my life to doing identitarianism. It is my calling. French officials received the data of 1.4 million French Twitter users and are beginning an investigation into Twitter. Here are some Twitter files you won't hear about. Oh, did you know this? Chad Loader, they're an incredible investigative journalist in this case, and guess what they did? They were about to reveal the fact that there was a massive security breach, which kind of, what you'd expect to have happen to a website that has not a lot of staff, and a whole bunch of accounts got leaked. And Chad Loader started tweeting about it. They were posting about it, and their account is gone now. I don't know if it's connected. I mean, again, it would just be me speculating. It is kind of interesting, but on Mastodon, Chad Loader continues. The Twitter files, part 3. I confirmed this morning that French law enforcement authorities and France's data protection authorities have received the breach data file containing the private information of nearly 1.4 million Twitter users from France. Say that again. 1.4 million Twitter users from France. All of their information is now out there. It's at this time that I'd like to say that if any of you do have Twitter accounts, I would suggest changing maybe any private information you have on those accounts that you do not want leaked. Also, if you have DMs in your Twitters that you don't want eventually leaked through the world, I would delete those too. I'm bad on that one just because I use Twitter for so much communication, but I'm trying to remind people, meet me over here. yeah, let's talk. It's kind of like a pager. Let's use Twitter as a pager from now on, okay? You can be like, I'm sending out the land signal. I'm like, oh, cool, okay, I'll talk to you over there. Just because, it's time to maybe clean the DMs. Do you enjoy the Serfs but prefer not to have to use your eyeballs? Many are saying this. Well, we've got the solution for you. It's the Serf Times in podcast form, available on most major podcasting networks now. If you enjoy it, please consider leaving a good review and feedback because it really helps the show out, apparently, and it's free, just like the podcast.
To our gods, Xander Corvus and Peyton L. Juste, we shall spend many a generations building mighty cathedrals in your honor. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, we are but your oafish jesters, here to offer you a laugh at any opportunity. To our brave knights of the Round Table, Rachel K., Izzy Solidarity, Victoria Bell, Sebastian Demmel, Mark Harmon, Benji Arney, Scary Earth Human, Tony, DM Rivera, Resident Scarecrow, Sir Nickus, Cheryl Alvarez, Ruby Kelly, Brandon, Words Greenwood, Everything Important, Hegbert Celine, Matthew Scarborough, Stellar Vision, Ariane McCarthy, Doug Cady, Daniel Sutton, Jenna Tal, Dark Puppy, Quiet One 85, Anna Loves Riley, Omni, Riley and Anna, Poodlehawk, Multimondi, Trevbot EXE, Brian Ephraim, Anthropophojack, Catherine, Ramon Acosta, Nkosin, Ralph Parler, Violent Orchard, Political Puppy, La Media Panza, Todd Buckingham, and Todd La Jeunesse. We salute our valiant heroes off to fight injustice everywhere.